There's a whole load of stuff that makes no sense on this. We asked the question, do you believe the BBC? What we got from Tim Davie, don't be fooled, by the way, by the, the sort of working class, all right, mate, accent. This is another Oxbridge-educated media character that's shinned up the corporate ladder via Procter & Gamble and Pepsi and goodness knows who else to find himself in the top job. And none of the lessons he learnt on the way were lost today. He was in full corporate mode as he batted off questions from one of his own top presenters on the BBC. And it was what he didn't say that becomes most telling here. Firstly, the question of when you first spoke to the presenter concerned. Now, that to me is absolutely key to this in terms of how the BBC dealt with this. You get a complaint that is so serious it could have very criminal implications to it. It's so serious that, if true, could see the person involved jailed for up to 10 years. So that's what we're dealing with here. They fire off an email to the person that made the complaint to try and get some more detail, and they make a phone call. They couldn't connect on the phone, and they didn't, they say, get a reply to the email. But then 7 weeks went past, and this is absolutely crucial to your trust in the BBC that you pay for. We all pay for the state broadcaster, and so this is really key. So to hear a very experienced corporate brain bat this one off as if there's nothing to see here, Gov, not good enough, Mr. Davie. 7 weeks before they eventually spoke to the presenter concerned. Now that to me is a massive failing. It's also a massive failing that he talked about, and in fact he patted the back of his own investigation team. We've got a great investigation team. Well, they're not great because they failed to get back in touch with somebody who'd made such a serious allegation, and they couldn't find that, but they couldn't get in touch. Really? One email, one phone call? That's not going to cut it. He talked about the BBC having strong levels of trust because around the world there are many places that don't have a free press. That's about the only thing he was right on. I don't know whether he was right on the strong levels of trust point. It's exactly this that people lose their trust in the BBC. And remember, it's already in a perilous position, the BBC. It's like a dinosaur living its last days, breathing off its inevitable extinction. And yet the head honcho stands there while everything around him is crumbling, talking about strong levels of trust. I mean, is this man living in a different universe? And one of the other points that hasn't really been picked up on was that when he was asked if the presenter concerned, which, by the way, he hasn't spoken to, and at this level and at this stage, I would have expected him to. I'm not suggesting that would happen to begin with. There are many other senior... The BBC is crammed full of sizzling senior managers. There's more of them that probably work in most workplaces. Senior managers. So I get that to start with. At this stage, I would have expected Mr. Davie to have engaged, but he hadn't. And he was asked if the presenter concerned had had any contact with the teenager that was at the centre of this allegation. And his response was that it wasn't for the BBC to comment on that. Really? Seriously? So we pay his salary, we pay the anonymous presenter's salary, we pay the salaries of the investigation team, and we pay the salaries of all of those senior managers. And yet it's not for the BBC in any shape or form to wonder whether the accused, if that is the right word, the accused has had contact with somebody who's involved in the accusation, if you like, the key witness. That's pivotal, absolutely pivotal. He was also asked whether that presenter had provided any financial assistance for lawyers to that key witness. And again, he said, it's not for the BBC. I mean, this is hopeless. This is hopeless. This is missing every red flag. We spoke earlier with somebody from crisis management who knows how to deal with it, spotting the red flags, etc. They didn't spot any red flags. The minute that phone call came in, sirens should have gone off. Walls should have been opening up. Committee rooms assembled. the head honcho and the presenter concerned, everybody you like, senior lawyers, the entire bit. It's the missing 7 weeks that is damning here, and it really is damning. It's the attitude towards the presenter and certain aspects of this not being anything to do with the BBC. And it is the galling, the incredulous line about the BBC offering strong levels of trust. Mr. Davie flunked it today. It's an E- for the Director General. And that was being interviewed by his own team. No wonder he won't come and be interviewed here. And we have asked him, to reiterate what Ollie said, come and have an interview. Come to TalkTV. Speak to us. We'd like to put some of those questions to you. And it's all very well. And she did put, Sarah Montague put some robust questions to him. But in typical BBC fashion, it was the lack of follow-up. It was the, no, hang on. Sorry, DG. You can't get away with just saying that. 7 weeks. What happened in that time? So more questions remain than answers. 0344 499 1000. It's just gone 3:30 on TalkTV. Let's go back to some of the other subjects we're talking about. The story of the asylum hotels. The government have booked out some empty hotels. There's not anybody in them. They're paying £500,000 a day. Again, of your... All these stories are about your money, right? The BBC is your money. The asylum hotel, your money. Yes, it has gone bonkers. We are living in a parallel universe.